Hello, listeners. Welcome to Hold Your Plums on Radio Merseyside.
Now let's start off with the lady who was asked which English king founded Westminster Abbey. Which English king founded Westminster Abbey? The answer we were looking for is Edward the Confessor. Remember, Edward the Confessor.
I don't know. I'm not that well up in it.
I'll have to tell you, Nell.
What?
I'm going to have to tell you this. I can't help it.
Oh, you're not going to have to
I'm going to have to tell her this. Well, I can't help it.
Oh, you're not, are you?
I'll have to.
You always admit to everything, you.
A woman, so.
I have to. I'm going to have to tell her.
What?
He's going to have to tell
I'm
you.
going to have to tell you the king who founded Westminster Abbey.
Who's that?
I'll have to tell you.
Go on, hurry up.
I just can't. I'm going to have to tell her, Wally.
But you have to tell everything, you.
I know I can't help it. I'm going to have to tell her.
Tell me.
Are you going to tell her, Bill?
I'm going to tell her. I can't help it.
I know, you're always the
I
same.
keep getting in booths and pulling curtains and telling everyone.
What are you going to do? Tell me a story.
What?
What are you going to do? Tell me a story.
No, he even tells everyone he's an Evertonian.
So am I, told me son. And my husband when he is alive.
You're not confessing to that, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, shut up, Eddie.
Yeah. So you confess to being an Evertonian?
Yes.
Go away.
Yes.
Is your lad named Edward?
No, my last name John. I'm not that well up in history.
Have you got it yet, love?
No.
Are you confessing you haven't got it?
I'm confessing I haven't. Honest to God, I don't know.
Do you remember Ethelred?
That ain't Bill, she doesn't even know this fella.
Now, do you remember Ethelred?
No.
Well, he was never ready for anything, him. And so they called him Ethelred the Unready.
He used to play in goal for Liverpool.
Now you said that, not me.
No, do you remember that king, Ethelred?
No.
Well, there was a king named Ethelred, and he was never ready for anything. He called him Ethelred the Unready.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's another king of England. He was a lion-hearted fella, and they called him Richard the Lionheart.
Yeah.
And there was another fella kept confessing to everything.
Don't know who that is.
That's a bit of bad luck, Bill. She knew Richard the Lionheart, and she knew the other fella, but she didn't know this fella.
This king wasn't a talking horse.
Mr. Ed.
Yeah? So what was the...
He just kept confessing all the while. And so they called him...
Mr. Ed?
No.
Can you imagine a king of England being called Mr. Ed?
His mates might have called him that.
What you got? You've got Edward, haven't you?
Yes, go on.
You've got Edward?
And because he kept confessing to everything, they called him...
Edward?
No, he was already Edward, love. He's confessed to that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to do.
He confessed to everything. And his name was, because he confessed to everything, they called him...
No, I don't know.
I've just told you about Richard the Lionheart and Ethelred the Unready, haven't I?
Yeah.
Because Ethelred was unready, so they called him
and
Unready.
Richard had the Lionheart.
Edward the Unready.
No. That was your fault, that. You laid it into that. No, they called Ethelred the Unready because he was never ready. They called Richard the Lionheart because he was lion-hearted. And they called Henry everything, actually, but behind his back. And this fella was always confessing to things. So they called him.
No, I don't know, Billy.
Listen, if Richard the Lionheart was called Richard the Lionheart because he had the Lionheart... And Ethelred the Unready was called...
Edward the Lion, there, is it?
What?
Edward the Lion?
No!
No, not Edward the Lion, no! He wasn't lying, he was admitting to it.
Well, you'd have to listen. As you know, as we've just told you,
Yeah.
he kept confessing to everything. Now,
So-
the Lionheart was a Lionheart, so they called him Richard the Lionheart. Ethelred was never ready, so they called him Ethelred the Unready. Edward was always confessing, so they called him.
Edward the...
Yeah, go on.
Edward the...
Yeah, go on. Go on. What?
Edward the liar?
Oh, go love.
Edward the liar.
Yeah.
No, he was confessing to everything.
He was admitting to it.
I'm admitting to it. I don't know nothing about it.
But we've given you all the correct guides, Nelly. I mean, I've given you all the examples. You only have to follow the example of the example I've given you for the example you need to make an example of this.
Well, Edward the good boy.
No!
Nelly, you're getting worse.
Nelly, we'll go through this slowly.
Go ahead, Bill.
Richard was very, very brave, so they called him Richard the Lionheart.
Yeah.
Right?
Ethelred was never ready, so they called him Ethelred the Unready. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, in Russia, King Vlad...
He was a bit of a Vlad.
King Vlad used to go round sticking knives in everybody, and they called him Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
So Edward, who went around confessing to everybody, was called... What was he called?
Just think about it, Nell.
I mean, he's first of all called Edward, isn't he? You've got that, haven't you? You know that.
Yeah.
Right. Now, he's always confessing. So that...
You say Edward the good, then?
Listen, they never call they never call Richard the Lionheart Richard the Brave, because he was known to have a lion heart.
So that's why they called him Lionheart.
Yeah. Now, Ethelred the Unready was never called Ethelred Unprepared. He was called Ethelred the Unready. So bearing in mind Ethelred the Unready and Richard the Lionheart, what did they call Edward who kept confessing?
Edward the Unready.
Not Edward the Unready!
Where's she come from?
Nelly,
What?
what was Edward always doing?
What you all do? All you men do?
What was Edward always doing? Now, come on, tell me now. Come on, tell me. What was Edward always doing? Tell me, come on. Come on. Come on.
Round.
What was he always doing? Tell me, come on.
Dancing and flirting round.
No, he wasn't dancing and flirting round. Who said he was? Have I ever said anything about Edward dancing and flirting round?
No, you didn't.
I think she got that because he
What?
kept confessing, Bill.
You shut up, you.
You said he was good.
No, I said he was confessing to everything.
Well, he must have been bad then, mustn't he?
No, depends. Well, it doesn't matter whether he was good or bad or anything. He just kept confessing all the while.
Billy, I don't know. Honest to God, I don't know.
He was a paranoid confessor. He couldn't help it. Even if he didn't do it, he confessed to it. He just loved confessing. So because he loved confessing and because his name was Edward, he got the nickname of Edward the... Edward the...
The good man.
Right, this is where we invoke our first go and ask next door.
Right.
You go and get somebody in from next door, Nelly, and I'll phone you back after the news.
Nelly, who lives next door?
Gone.
Hey?
Well, get someone from anywhere, I don't care. Just get someone in to help you, and I'll ring you back after the news.
Is there a shop near you, Nelly?
No.
Well, who lives near you?
No, they're out of way.
Well, phone someone while the record's on and ask them.
Phone someone you know and ask them what
Yeah.
was Edward's name, the king.
Who kept confessing.
All right.
I'll ring you back after the news.
Phone someone now.
Shut up, Wally, will you?
Your soar away sensational Hold Your Plums.